Hi, I'm Rick Conlow. I'm glad you're here. Let's talk about the motivational mindset. And the reason I bring this up, it's been a challenging year with the pandemic and the economic challenges, and that creates a lot of negative emotions in people just because their lives are disrupted and upset, and it's difficult in terms of being ill, obviously, when losing family members or losing a job or being unemployed for a while, coming back to work, working from a distance, working at home, all these kinds of things. The fear and the worry and the doubt and the anxiety come up. So how do we have a motivational mindset to help us get through all of that? And it's like this. You turn the light on, you turn the light off. You turn the light off, you turn the light on. Quite frankly, we choose what we think. Now, certainly, circumstances bear in on us, but at the same time, we can choose what we think. Now, we may get into negative thoughts, but we can turn that around and choose positive thoughts almost as quickly as we did with the light. And the most important part then is once we make a choice, what do we do about it? And we need to focus on the possibilities for success, not on the potential for failure. That's where we get into trouble. Our thinking wanders to the failure and the worry and the doubt and the difficulties and the hardship and the struggles. And before we know it, we forgot about our dreams and our goals and our hopes and our wishes and the things we'd like to accomplish in this world. And so that's what the motivational mindset is all about. Now think about this young lady here, Laura Decker. 14 years old, and she sailed around the world in her own boat. Her family, of course, had a sailing background, so she grew up on the water. 14 years old, she did it by herself. Now that's a whole nother question, whether or not a 14-year-old should do that by herself. But she did it. No one else has ever done that. Now you can imagine the potential worries and fears of the parents, let alone a young lady at that age, anybody at that age, going around the world in, the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, any ocean, and the potential hardships and dangers that they represent. But Laura Decker did it, and she didn't do it focusing on the potential problems. She did it focusing on the possibilities. Look her up, read about it. It's an inspiration for us all by what we choose in our thinking. We forget the power that we have in our minds. The harder the goal, the greater the victory, which means the more we need to work at it. We don't leave chance to an unprepared mind. What we do is we prepare to turn chance into our goals. So we really got to work at what we're thinking. We got to think about what we're thinking, just like we work at being anxious. Failure is a lesson learned. Success is a lesson applied. So there are difficulties. I'm not downplaying those. There are hardships, and we got to think at what does that cause in our life when we spend our time there in our minds. But if we spend our time in our minds on what we want, on the success we hope for, on the goals we dream about, things change. And it's okay to fail. It isn't. We just need to come back, rework it, review it, renew our minds. That's one of the challenges. Michael Jordan said he missed 9,000 shots in his career. He lost 300 games. 26 times he was trusted to have the winning shot, and he missed. He failed over and over again, but yet he succeeded. Why? He didn't let the difficulties and the struggles and the problems and the potential failure stop him. He kept working on it, kept practicing it, kept coming back. He didn't quit. If you don't quit, you can't be beat. Let me say that again. If you don't quit, you can't be beat. And that's what I'm talking about here. If you're playing tennis and you miss a shot, you don't say, I'm a loser. Or if you hit a good shot, you don't say, I'm a winner. Either one is information. What is most important is you keep playing. You keep playing. Now, we can grieve and learn from a loss and a difficulty and a struggle, but we also have to enjoy and learn from a win. Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win, but we're always a success. That's the motivational mindset. We need to keep that in our mind about who we really are, not about what circumstances are saying that we are. Success is a state of being because we choose, in spite of the struggles, in spite of the hardships, even in spite of the wins and the victories, we choose to be successful. It's not the destination. It's not the journey. Kyle Maynard was born like this. If you could imagine, that's a difficulty. That's a struggle. That's a hardship. But he went on to wrestle in high school. He went on to compete in football. He made the high school wrestling championships. Today, he owns his own business. He's written a best-selling book. And he was asked, Kyle, what about your disabilities? He said, disabilities? What disabilities? Life is full of possibilities. So see what he's done? He's trained his thinking to the point where he always chooses that he's successful, that he can make it, that he's victorious, that he's triumphant, even in the midst of the struggles and the difficulties. In fact, they become part of the motivation to move you forward, as well as the wins and the things that go well. George Carver said 99% of failures come from people who have a habit of making excuses. It's easy to make excuses. In fact, that's what it's often said, but I think it's harder, because when we make excuses, we make our life more difficult, because we get stuck in a spiral of never-ending reviewing in our mind of all the obstacles, as opposed to all the opportunities. Do you see what I'm thinking? Christopher Reeves, Superman, who wound up from a horse accident, become paralyzed, said nothing is impossible. His greatest victories in life came after his stellar movie career, came after his injury, when he dedicated his life in a wheelchair to help come up with the cure to paralysis. Now, he passed away a few years ago, yet they raised hundreds of millions of dollars for the research, and today people who are paralyzed, if they get to the accident soon enough and get rehabilitation soon enough, they start walking again. Nothing is impossible. That's the power of our mind, to use it the way it's intended to be used. Learn from the failures. Let the failures become a badge of honor and to propel you to victory. Focus on what's possible, what's yes, what's positive, on the potential, on the possibility, not the negative. It's a choice. That's the motivational mindset. Thank you for coming.